Hey guys, Ballas and Ramos. This Sunday, the Miami Dolphins are facing the Detroit Lions in Detroit, and kickoff is at 1 p.m. this October 30th. And the Dolphins are going in there with not the best away record at 1-2. Detroit hasn't been so great at home either, 1-2 themselves, with a 1-5 record. You can tell right there. And Dolphins going into a 4-3 record. And if you look at last week's win, wasn't the most encouraging win, but defense was able to stand their ground and help the Dolphins get the win, while the offense started off the game real hot, could stalled out. Now the Detroit Lions have lost very close games throughout this season, especially the one against Seattle, 48-45, ended up losing to Minnesota, losing 28-24. So don't count them out. They've had some close games, but as of late has not looked well. Last 2 weeks they played the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots. Got shut out against the Patriots 29-0, and then when it came to facing the Lions, 24-6. Not a good look for the Detroit Lions. Now with the Dolphins having Tua back, the offense should be clicking at all cylinders and looking a lot better. Now let's get into some injuries before we get into anything else. Miami Dolphins declare River Craycraft, wide receiver, out with a neck injury. And then on top of that, in terms of questionable players, we have Emmanuel Ogbah, defensive end, with a back injury. Xavier Howard with a groin injury, questionable. Thomas Morstead, punter, questionable. Durham Smythe, tight end, hamstring, questionable. Tanner Connor, tight end, is questionable. Clayton Feldrum, safety, is questionable. Brandon Jones on the injured reserve. He suffered a knee injury during last Sunday's game. And then we still have Nick Needham with his Achilles injury on injured reserve. Trey Flowers, linebacker, on injured reserve, foot injury. Austin Jackson remains on injured reserve. He's a guard. And that's pretty much it in terms of players who have been listed out. Brandon Jones still listed as out. Wondering what's going on there. He's been taken off the PUP, and then, just no signs of him possibly coming back to the lineup yet, which is unfortunate because the secondary does need help as it's getting more and more depleted each week. And then on top of that, for the Detroit Lions, they have Matt Nelson, offensive tackle. He's out with a calf injury. All these guys on the list are confirmed out. Chase Lucas, cornerback, with an ankle injury. Mike Hughes, cornerback, knee injury. Ifatu Melifanu, he has an ankle injury. Charles Harris, linebacker, he is listed with a groin injury. Deshaun Elliott, safety, finger. And let's see who else. Jameson Williams still is out. He's dealing with a knee injury. And then Bobby Price on injured reserve with a knee injury. TJ Shark still on injured reserve with an ankle injury. And Jonah Jackson, questionable guard. And Amon-Ra St. Brown with a concussion, listed as questionable. Fantasy-wise, I hope he plays, but don't want to rush him back with all this concussion problems that the NFL has been having this season. Now, when it comes to ESPN's matchup predictor, Dolphins are favored to win 68.9% to the Detroit Lions 30.7, tie at 0.3 as always. And spread is -3.5 for the Miami Dolphins, +3.5 for the Lions, -190 money line, +158 money line for the Lions, and over/under set at 51.5. Now, when you look at some of the stats both teams have been able to put up through the season, it's been lackluster because both teams have been dealing with key injuries. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been in and out of the lineup. They lost DJ Shark very early on. DeAndre Swift hasn't been playing since week 3, but he's hopefully coming back this week for the Lions, which, as much as I hope he comes back in terms of fantasy stuff, hope he doesn't come back good against the Dolphins, but he's this video's thumbnail, so he should hopefully be playing. By the way, they're wearing the gray jerseys, and the Dolphins are wearing the white jerseys, and I think it's going to be a huge mess. Hopefully one of these teams figures it out before game time and not get confused. But hopefully it'll go all well, because if not, it's going to look really weird, really bad. So this is the ways the Miami Dolphins can win this game. It all starts on defense. Needs to get a lot of pressure on Jared Goff, the Lions quarterback. He has shown in history that with a lot of pressure, he collapses, struggles, makes mistakes. I know you can say that pretty much about any quarterback, but Jared Goff especially, you've seen it game in, game out. Whenever he's pressured a lot, he's not being able to deliver the right throws or force his throws. I mean, last time the Dolphins played Jared Goff, he was with the Los Angeles Rams, and there was a big strip sack that Dolphins were able to return for a touchdown, and it was actually Tua's first start as a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. So, just some history there. So on top of that, limit DeAndre Swift. I know he's going to be able to, shift the way this game is played. So hopefully, after the Dolphins are able to put a lot of pressure, they're going to try to go to the running game, and with that, you got to try to shut that down. And then offensively, Tua just needs to help this team complete drives. Running game needs to get better. A few things that went against the Dolphins last week was, I wouldn't say that 4th and 3 within the red zone was a mistake, but it was very questionable on how it was executed. A lot of scrutiny on top of that play, just people going back looking at it. I know it didn't cost the Dolphins the game. I know they should have probably kicked the field goal, but at that point, your offense has been doing pretty good that entire night. Why not try to go for it? Just felt like the execution was lackluster. Either the play was designed that Chase Edmonds, fakes going out and goes in, or just whatever the read was for him to go, he went with it. He did miss the hole on the left side, but like I said, play design might have been completely different. Counter to the left side, go back in. Who knows? But for the time being, running game needs to get better for Miami Dolphins very desperately. Not doing very well in that end. Barely averaging 100 yards a game. I think it's a little bit under. Let's look at it actually. Team stats for both teams. Miami Dolphins are averaging 21 points. Detroit Lions are averaging 24. Miami Dolphins are allowing about 24. They're at 23.6. Detroit Lions are allowing 32. Total yards offensively, Miami Dolphins have 381. Detroit Lions 410. Yards passing, Dolphins have the upper hand, 296. Detroit 264. Yards rushing is where it's lopsided very, very heavily. Dolphins are averaging 84 yards a game rushing. Meanwhile, Detroit Lions have 145. So, emphasize on stopping the run game. And that's been with them not having DeAndre Swift in the lineup as much. Now with, them having no more Jamal Williams as the lead back, could be a completely different game. He's more of a bruising type of back, while DeAndre Swift is more of the lead back. On top of that, just more of a shifty, more elusive type of back for them. Now, when it comes to yards allowed, Dolphins are heavily favored there. 372 yards, while the Lions are averaging 422. Yards allowed passing, Miami Dolphins 269, Detroit Lions 259. Running game is a big difference in terms of defense. Dolphins are allowing 103, Detroit Lions are allowing 162. And that is per game. So things could be emphasized for the Dolphins. Try to run the hell out of the ball. I know Tua's back, you want to see him throw the ball a lot. But the biggest thing is this offense needs to start clicking in different aspects. You can't just all be relayed on the quarterback. And that does come back down to the offensive line play. Offensive line play has been lackluster, but gotten better. And with Tua back in there, he can help a lot of their flaws by, just one, getting the ball out a lot quicker, and then two, just making the right reads, making the right shifts into when the pressure is coming towards them. In terms of AFC East standings, the Miami Dolphins are currently in third, behind the 5-1 Buffalo Bills and the 5-2 New York Jets. New England's right behind the Dolphins, 3-4. Meanwhile, in the NFC North, Minnesota's on top, 5-1. Green Bay's 3-4, same as Chicago, and then down on the bottom is the Detroit Lions at 1-5. Another thing I want to emphasize is Aiden Hutchinson is an absolute beast off of the defensive line, and try to stop that guy, because definitely don't want him wrecking this game for the Dolphins, whether it's in the running game or in the passing game. So emphasize on trying to block Aiden Hutchinson. Could be a big difference for this Miami Dolphins team on whether they lose or win. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you tomorrow for the post-game review. Peace.